Well, hello, Glue Troopers, and welcome back to Max's Models. I'm out on the road in beautiful White Plains, New York. I did a road build. That's this 1:144 scale Crown Spitfire Mark V, and the kit definitely left something to be desired. Of course, we often know that older 1:144 scale kits have issues with flash and stuff like that, given their small scale. This was no exception, definitely plenty of flash. The kit was about as simple as you would expect in a lot of ways, although it did have provisions for the prop to be able to turn. In fact, I was surprised to learn that this kit, although it didn't fit particularly well, it did have a couple of really neat little options. Basically, since it came with a stand, you could also make the kit wheels up or wheels down. So it had a set of landing gears made to be glued into the wing with the gear retracted or with the gear extended. And it came with both a propeller built, three-bladed prop built into the spinner, or with a spinner with no props. I didn't see the spinner without props to begin with. It was just the spinner itself. So I wound up, since I was going to put it on the stand, I wound up trimming off the props, which were covered with flash and really weren't very good. And once I decided to clip them off, which was partly instigated by one of them snapping off, but that was what I wanted to do anyway, it was quite difficult to trim down both the gates from the styrene runner and the three prop nubs that were left. And after grinding away, and I decided to color it black. I had a felt tip Sharpie, which is the only thing I had to color the model with, so I went with a darker paint scheme. Of course, this is technically inaccurate, but you know, who cares? It's a little fun build. And then I found the spinner afterwards, which was in this light gray, which is closer to the actual proper color of the spinner. So I swapped that out once the model was mostly done, and it does look better. The little Spitfire nameplate logo, I just use that same pen to color it all in and then sand it down so that the raised letters would show a little bit. But fun little way to kill some time. The decals were partly salvageable. None of the letters were, but I didn't really need them for this build. But I managed to get the roundels and the tail flash on. All in all, not exactly a kit I would recommend, but then again, you know, it's a little 1:144 scale from a company in Japan that was made many, many years ago. And for what it is, it's okay, but it's certainly by no means a great kit. It's not going to win any awards or anything, but it was fun, and ultimately that's really what matters. Crown made a lot. I've built a few of their kits before. They, you know, kind of varying degrees of quality. Some of them are actually fairly good, and some of them, you know, perhaps not so much. But when you're dealing with something like this, you're normally not worried. You know, some people might use them for dioramas and stuff, but you're not normally worried about you know, super detail or anything like that, just given the small scale. And this kit in particular was, I believe these things came out in the mid 80s, and actually this one probably came out about the early 70s. They were made through the mid 80s. That's kind of when Crown was around. So, you know, we're talking early 70s, injection molding, small company, Japan, about what you would expect. Not Tamiya, to be sure, but a lot of fun. And with a little putty, I suppose you could make it work. The wings are one piece, two-part fuselage. You do have the propeller with a cap so that it can rotate. And of course, it's horizontal stabilizers and the canopy. And there's actually three separate pieces for the belly, for the chin scoop and the radiator and the other scoop under the other wing, which I forget might be the oil cooler. And they also had, of course, the option for the different landing gears. So again, you know, in that regard, a little more than I expected, and not a bad representation of the airplane. So anyway, I thought you guys would enjoy this little road build. In other news before I go, a couple of things. One, Glue Trooper Matt Teagan put out a video and some artwork he did about could have been, should have been, would have been box art kit models, you know, that should have been made. And it's a great video, and I believe he painted these pictures himself, so a lot of great artwork. And several of you guys had already sent the link to me, but I had already seen it. He emailed me when he did it, and I was very impressed. He actually had to re-upload it because he found some editing errors in the first one, so he lost those views. But anyway, I'm going to link it below. By all means, go out and watch it. It is a great video, great artwork, and just really, really thrilled with the work that he did. Speaking of videos, Mike Machat put out a new video on unusual aircraft that operated, oddities that operated off of aircraft carriers. I had emailed him about that idea, and he took it and ran with it. And it's a great video. It's up there. I'll link it below also. So go watch both those videos. It's worth the time. And that's where right now. I should, if all goes well, we'll go home tomorrow. Be home for a few days, and maybe even get a little work done in the TARDIS. But I have things waiting for me when I get home, so it might be a little while before I can get back to doing anything. Well, guys, that's what I have right now. Take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.